102 Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:34, and the great genius of Tom Petty on Rock 102.
The early bird catches the earworm, you piece of shiznit. Thanks so much for that to start off with. You did that on purpose.
You're very welcome. I knew you'd love it. Anyway, what a show today. Potential round of Am I the A-Hole? Other things.
Other things.
Yes, other things.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it all.
Yeah, I mean, we just sat down. I mean, no plan.
Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 53. We need more rain is what we need around here.
Just to get rid of, like, the last few piles of snow.
24 in downtown Springfield.
It's Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Friday mornings.
It's open live! Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 5:53, and the Rolling Stones with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 53. It's 24 right now in downtown Springfield.
Hollywood Trash is brought to you by Western Mass Masons. Call them for all your foundation and chimney needs.
Somehow you still care about what's happening in Hollywood. So, from Tinseltown, 3,000 miles away, it's Steve Nagle's Hollywood Trash.
You know, I don't know about you, but whenever I want to find out how deaths happened, I turn to somebody who wasn't even on the scene or anywhere near the location of where it happened.
It's a very reliable source.
There's still no word on how Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy died, but someone posed an interesting theory, and that someone is Dr. Michael Baden. You know him.
Sure.
The world-famous forensic pathologist. And he's not working on the case, but he's seen the reports, and he says this is how it might have gone down. Given the evidence from Gene's pacemaker, Baden says he may have suffered a cardiac arrest and collapsed. As you may recall, Betsy was found on the floor in the bathroom with a space heater on the floor next to her and an open prescription bottle on the counter with pills scattered everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Baden says she may have run to the bathroom to get Gene's blood pressure medication and fallen herself. It's possible she had a cardiac event of her own. She wasn't known to be in bad health, but she was 65 and under severe stress. Hey, good for him robbing the cradle with the 65-year-old and him in his 90s. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She took care of him right to the very end.
Or it could have been, she could have taken care of him a little bit better.
He was 95.
Or it could have just been an accidental fall, which caused her to hit her head. Authorities found no evidence of blunt force trauma, but she could have suffered an internal injury like a brain bleed that didn't leave a mark. As for the dog that died, it was constrained in its cage or kennel, so it probably died from dehydration because it didn't have access to water for 9 days. Baden's theory would also explain why Betsy didn't call 911. Her first priority was getting the medication, and she died in the process. Here's another theory that might be slightly less plausible. The Star Whackers are back. Remember when Randy Quaid lost his mind and started ranting about some secret cabal that was killing off celebrities and stealing their fortunes?
Yeah.
Well, he said it was the Star Whackers who took out Heath Ledger, David Carradine, and other dead celebrities, and now, according to him, they got Gene Hackman.
All right, so on a side-by-side comparison, you have Randy, is it?
Yeah.
You got Randy Quaid spouting this one theory, and 90-year-old Michael Baden talking about that old man that died.
Yeah, how old is that guy? Is he 90?
He's not. Michael Baden's not 90 years old.
Wow. Well, he's seen a thing or two and knows a thing or two about a thing or two.
But at 90.
Yeah.
Not to say that you couldn't be, on the ball at 90. But he's been retired for a while. He hasn't really been active in the field for a couple months.
If you make it to the age of 90, you're going to have some kind of tips and tricks for some young radio person, and nobody's going to believe you.
By the time I'm
karma.
90, no one will believe that radio existed.
What are you talking about? It'll still be around.
Okay.
Adrian Brody set an Oscar record with his acceptance speech. It was 5 minutes and 40 seconds. The previous record was 5 minutes and 30 seconds, set by actress Greer Garson all the way back in 1943.
Everybody tightened it up since then.
But that's not the only way Brody annoyed people. He's getting a lot of blowback for taking his gum out of his mouth and tossing it to his girlfriend before the speech. Why don't you just swallow it?
Or stick it behind your ear.
Or throw it on the table. Who cares?
He might want it
Here.
for chew later on.
Take this chewed gum. Maybe that's their kink. Maybe she likes Adrian Brody's chewed gum. Oh, man, I'm so glad he gave me this again.
You know, he does have a history of annoying people. You know, he was banned as a host from Saturday Night Live years ago
Well,
for behaving like a jackass.
after seeing what's-his-name's performance the other night, he should be banned, too.
Shane Gillis?
Yeah, I didn't think that was funny at all.
You know, I don't think Shane Gillis is really all he's cracked up to be honest.
I
Ever.
don't think so either. And there's a lot of people out there that like him, which that's everything is subjective anyway. I personally don't really think it's that.
He'll never be an Amy Schumer.
Why do people see? Here's what makes me angry. It's why do people seemingly get chances to be like in this big spotlight,
Right.
only to let a bunch of people down, more people down than what you would think.
You mean like the way he let people down when he was hired to be a cast member, was let go after a season?
Well, I mean, that happens to a lot of people. I mean, that's not.
But then he comes back, and then
twice, right?
this is now his twice,
Yeah.
the second time hosting.
Well, I'm sure that Lorne Michaels is making good decisions over there.
Again, another guy's close to 90.
Songwriter, this is going back to the Oscars. Songwriter Diane Warren tied the record for the most Oscar nominations without ever winning. Sunday night was her 16th loss. That's too bad.
She's like the Susan Lucci of Oscar music.
I guess so. Sean Baker became the first filmmaker to win 4 Oscars for the same movie, writing, directing, editing, and producing Anora. Not surprisingly, the majority of Americans think the Will Smith slap is the most memorable Oscar moment of all time and will probably never be topped. No, I remember that naked guy running across the stage.
Behind David Niven.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Meanwhile, Chris Rock isn't ruling out hosting the Oscars again.
But he'll do it from like a safety net. Like you have to get through like a brick wall to get to him.
I can't remember the last time I actually watched the Oscars. It's been like years.
I will watch a little bit of it, but then it goes on so late. I can't stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning to see who won the best picture.
Well, this is what I like about TikTok. It's like the Cliff's Notes of everything on TV. You just have to watch the clip. You don't have to pay attention to anything else.
There used to be a time when you had to watch it because there was no other way to get that information.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden somebody, I believe it was Al Gore, created the internet and made it so much easier to live.
Daryl Hall says he will never reunite with John Oates. He says he also wrote 90% of the songs.
Wow.
And he ended it with that. That's all I'm doing. That's what he said.
Yeah, I don't think anyone thought that they would.
Yeah, but, are you telling me that if another opportunity came along for you to make a few $1 million on a tour, you wouldn't do it?
I think they'd have to resolve their legal issues first.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Kim Kardashian revealed new bikinis for her Skims swim line.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have something to say.
Oh, my God, the last time I revealed a swim line was when Ray J did the Skin Surf and Tongue Turf with his Millimeter Peter in that sex tape you can purchase on YouPorn for $39.95.
Caitlin?
No, I never got that down and dirty with your mother, Chris Kim, but we once had the Portuguese candy shop Bon Bon Deluxe. You'll have to look that
I'm going to look that up. What else?
Well, we had a friend watch. We called him Scrooge McCuck because he did some swimming with his duck bill, if you know what I'm saying.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is I ate undercooked garlic knots from the sloppy bread box.
What that will do to your breath.
Needs a little more yeast to rise, and that is your absolutely disgusting, repulsive Hollywood trash on Rock 102.
John Hazen here.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Folks, I don't know if you're aware of this, but according to my calculations, I'm only 2,385 days away from being able to retire from this godforsaken business. And when that day finally comes, which I believe will be a Monday, I'm quite certain that I won't be transitioning into another 30-year-long career. And yet some people simply cannot stop seeing themselves not working or being productive with their lives, whereas I can. Yesterday, two-time Super Bowl champion Hall of Fame head coach Jimmy Johnson announced that he would be retiring from Fox Sports after more than 31 years in the job. During an appearance on the Colin Cowherd Show yesterday, Jimmy announced that at 81 years old, it's time to hang things up. Oh, sure, he'll miss working with guys like Terry, Howie, Michael, Menifee, and Gronk, but this was the decision that he's been mulling over for the last several years, and quite frankly, I can't say I blame him. After all, he hasn't coached anybody in over 11,315 days. He's achieved everything that a guy could ever possibly achieve in football. Super Bowl wins, a national championship, induction into the Hall of Fame. He's done everything. So when I look at a guy like this, I cannot help but think to myself, God, I still hate the Dallas Cowboys. But I have grown to appreciate and enjoy Jimmy Johnson, especially as a broadcaster. However, if anybody in their right minds think that I'm going to change my mind and keep working at 81 years old, then they are out of their freaking minds. After these next 2,385 days are up, I'm certainly not going to follow in his footsteps by leaving broadcasting to start a coaching career. My only plan is to start watching football past 8 o'clock at night without setting alarm for the following day. Nevertheless, I say congratulations to Jimmy Johnson on a brilliant career and a long and healthy retirement, because after more than 60 years in football, I think that the man deserves a break. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. Preventing a house fire? I'd say that's worth $10, wouldn't you? You want to go to Rocky's. First Alert smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors are on sale right now. $10 with your Ace Rewards card. $10 with a 10-year battery included. Available now at your neighborhood Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:14. I'm Bob Seeger with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It's going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 48. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 53. It's 24 in downtown Springfield.
Didn't mention this, but this Thursday, it's going to be a Thunderbird Thursday. We'll have some tickets to give away for Saturday's game. We'll give you all the details about that as we get closer to Thursday here on Rock 102.
If you're worried about your energy bill, there is some relief on the way.
Will they be spreading out all those charges over the course of, say, 12 months?
Well, that and the Department of Public Utilities plans to cut $500 million from the Mass Save program over the next 3 years.
Okay.
This comes after higher energy bills during a colder than average winter. Eversource was unavailable for an interview. Of course they were.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Because why would you face the public outcry?
Well, you wouldn't want to do that.
No. The Mass Save program is a monthly surcharge on electric and gas bills that many ratepayers pay. The delivery fee on your heating bill pays for most of the program. It's estimated that $80 from your average heating bill goes to Mass Save. The funds goes towards rebates and incentives for those looking to increase the energy efficiency of their homes. The new proposal from Mass Save is estimated to cost $5 billion and will offer incentives to make Massachusetts more energy efficient.
You know, here's the thing about that. Because when people get like their Mass Save audit, and they get their energy efficient light bulbs for free, and you get all the things that they'll suggest you do, maybe a little bit of insulation for your outlets or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever free.
No, it's being paid for by somebody, and it's being paid for by us.
By you.
We're paying back into it.
That's right. So when people say, I need some fresh new light bulbs in this house, I think I'll call Mass Save to get myself a big bundle full of bulbs. Someone is going to have to flip the bill for that, and it's probably you and everybody in your neighborhood.
Eversource released the following response on revising its energy efficiency and decarbonization plan through 2027. We commend the Department of Public Utilities for listening to customer concerns, because we certainly won't.
In fact, we don't even pick up the phone.
About affordability and taking the difficult action today to order a reduction in the proposed 25 to 27 energy efficiency and decarbonization plan. This is the most immediate step the state can take to provide long-term rate relief to customers and ensure that the pace of the energy transition in Massachusetts is affordable and attainable. To be clear, we are steadfastly committed to the Mass Save programs, which are essential to meeting the Commonwealth's decarbonization goals and provide significant benefits to customers and the state as a whole. But this winter's higher than normal natural gas bills make a revision to this plan imperative at this time.
Did you ever get one of them energy audits done at your house?
Yeah, you know what? I actually got suckered into that by somebody else who told me, hey, you need to... This happened like a couple of years ago, and it was supposed to happen during 2020.
Right.
But that never happened because the pandemic hit. I had just moved into my house in November of 2019. Ordered the Mass Save audit, and by the time anybody was available, it was March, and everything was shutting down and,
right.
and all that good stuff. So what they had me do was go around the house and take pictures of like the shower heads and all the light bulbs.
Sure.
And then I got a big box of light bulbs that, I guess if you're used to living in the dark, those light bulbs are great because you flip one on and it takes about 10 minutes for it to warm up.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I still got a box of shower heads and light bulbs. And then I was still eligible for the discount on the insulation.
Right.
And that seemed like a big giant scam to me. It came to like $2,300 for these guys to come in and blow insulation. And granted, they did insulate the house.
Sure.
It probably did need to be done. But the shyster fly-by-night insulation company that was hired by... First of all, you know what? Thank you for triggering this memory.
Yeah.
There was this company up in South Hadley, and I can't remember the name of it now, that was supposed to be doing this whole thing, and they never responded back. And I got to find out who that company was.
Yeah.
But anyway... It winds up being another company that comes and does this insulation thing, and they blow all this insulation into the attic, and they do all this stuff and whatever. And yes, I guess it's less drafty in the house. But we get to this one point where the guy's like almost done, and he's like, "We underestimated, and there's like this will cost you another like $400 to fill this particular gap in the house." And I was like, well, how efficient is the energy efficient company that didn't see that coming? Mm-hmm. Because you went through the entire house looking to see where this stuff needed to be put.
Right.
And I said, no. I said, no, I'm not paying an extra $400 to have something done that you should have done to begin with. And that was kind of like I was the a-hole in that situation. You know, that was what I felt.
Right.
As I was projecting that to somebody. I don't know. I guess it's my own stupid fault for not calling another company to see how much that would have been anyway, regardless of whether you had a Mass Save issue going on. You know what I mean? Like, how much is the discount? Is it really being discounted, or are these companies just submitting bills and getting paid? You know, are they charging Mass Save like $8,000 for a $2,300 job when it really only costs $2,300?
Everybody I know that has had one of these audits has said after the audit and after all the things they finally did, most of them have said, I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it again either.
When I was living in, it would have been, I think that this is when I was living in I think I was living in Forest Park at the time, but we had the audit done. And, there was, we got the light bulbs, we got some of the insulation, but the guy that did the insulation, the subcontractor, was actually a very good guy. And he said, listen, they're only going to cover this amount, but your house needs a whole hell of a lot more of it, and I will charge you a whole lot less than anybody else is going to do it, because this house really needs a full blow. Yeah. And it's like, I think had they been doing their job, they would have agreed to maybe put a little bit more insulation into the house, because it was all, the house is old, and the insulation they had in the attic was all this, it was like cork. It was like broken up cork, and it wasn't efficient at all. Right. And this guy actually did cut me a deal, but it's like, I was expecting a hell of a lot more from them to make my house efficient, and it was only like 10% of what really needed to be done.
Let's see if we got an energy expert over here on the phone.
Here we go. Rock 102, good morning, who's this?
Oh, of course.
All right, there we go. Rock 102, good morning, who's this?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Vince the plumber.
You do realize it's only Tuesday, right?
Yes, definitely. But I got to throw in the 2 cents on here. I'm happy you said about the insulating, guys. So long and the short is, I had the same thing. Mass came over, checked it out, had the subcontractor come. So the subcontractor guys tell me, hey, we gotta call the inspector guy back because you got some regular insulation in some of these walls. And I go, okay, what about that? He goes, the guy's going to come, and he's going to tell you it's going to be an additional $480
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm
us to
talking
continue
about.
going. So then I'm like, oh, okay. So this guy prepped me. The subcontractor, really good people also, you know. He prepped me for this. So then I start going through the contract. The contract has nothing, no ad lines about any of this if there's insulation stuff, right? Yeah. Long and the short is, the guy tells me almost $500. I said, hey, show me where it is in the contract. The guy poops himself and limpid septic went over and cleaned it up.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, yeah, no, it's, we're just going to take care of this and have a great day.
Again,
Yeah, see, I didn't even get we're going to take care of this. They were like, we're just going to leave you high and dry.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
enjoy the delivery fee.
Yeah, right.
Have a good one, guys.
All right,
there
thanks.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, there you go. Thank God for Mass Safe.
thank God for that big Scroogey.
Hey, we're getting screwed no matter which way you look at it.
It's 624 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. Oh, that snuck up on me. It's 626 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
How does it sneak up on you when you're the one with the screens in front of your face? Like it would be more understandable for me to miss that when I don't have access to what you have to.
Well, Steve, I could sit here and explain it to you and make it sound like a denial, but let me just say I found myself distracted with other things. So that's it. I will own it. I will take responsibility for it, and there you go.
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready to laugh?
Yes, I'm ready to laugh.
Let's laugh.
Hold on, I'm not ready.
It's back.
Are you ready to laugh?
Yeah, now I'm ready.
All right.
It's Bax and Nagle's joke of the day
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you.
on Rock 102,
I make you laugh.
Springfield's classic rock.
Why did the U.S. shut down quantum computing research?
I don't know. Why did the U.S. shut down quantum computing research?
Because it was non-binary. You see?
Yes, I see.
Yeah.
That's a non-binary joke.
Bax and Nagle in the morning on Rock 102, Springfield's.
6:30 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news brought to you by Big Y. The game is on, and Big Y has all the snacks you need to make your crowd go wild. Freshly made wings, platters, pizza, and 30-inch subs. Big Y, nicely done. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Some sad news. Mystic Aquarium shared on Monday that Chappie, the gray seal pup found in the streets of New Haven in February, passed away due to gastrointestinal issues. Must have went to that Frank Pepe's for that final pizza.
Yeah, but I've never had a gastrointestinal issue because of Frank Pepe's.
Well, maybe it was that other one that pretends to be Frank Pepe's.
What, Sally's?
Sally's.
Sally's is great, too.
Well, I don't know.
What about Modern? Modern's awful good. They're all good.
The seal pup was first found on February 16th, stranded on Chapel Street, his namesake, Chappie,
Sure.
in New Haven, where the police found him and kept the area safe until the aquarium rescue team came to take him on. The aquarium said that Chappie was likely following his instincts to get away from the water and other larger seals that could potentially harm him. He was brought to Mystic Aquarium's animal rescue, where the staff intended to aid him in his recovery. Over the following weeks, the aquarium said that Chappie presented issues of mild pneumonia, dehydration, and malnutrition, but that he was initially responding well to treatment and gradually learning to eat on his own. However, his gastrointestinal issues became more prevalent and his condition began to decline. Chappie was reported to struggle with digestive problems and difficulties eating whole fish. Oh, but the portions are so large.
All this fish gives me the winds.
Oh, how much mercury is in this fish out of the Long Island Sound?
Tilapia? Again, you realize it's a bottom-feeding fish that eats its own stink.
A complete necropsy was conducted, and the cause of Chappie's death was determined to be consistent with mesenteric torsion. His intestines were twisted around the mesentery, cutting off blood supply to the large portion of his gastrointestinal. I just
Chappie.
feel so bloated after that salmon.
Hey, does this chum make me look fat?
No, your face does.
Vision makes you look fat.
While unrelated, I used the 50-millimeter filter on TikTok, and I found out what I really looked like to people. While unrelated to his death, small pieces of plastic were also found in Chappie's stomach, which highlighted the threat that marine debris poses to all marine animals.
Steve, I believe it's pronounced debris.
Yeah, whatever, Mr. Marquette. The Mystic Aquarium staff said they are proud to have given Chappie the best chance possible, and that he was surrounded by love while in their care.
Surrounded by love.
Yeah,
That and a digel.
yeah, that's.
Pepto's all over the place.
Yeah, we got Pepto-Bismol. What else you got?
Some good
Gas
Malox.
Gas X.
X-Lax.
Yeah, all
right.
that stuff. Yeah, it's a sad day at the Mystic Aquarium.
It really
for
is.
Chappie.
It really
For
is.
Chappie. Let's see. Let's find out some other news going on around here. Here's a man. Oh, this is a man arrested in Lawrence. Do you want to hear about that guy?
A guy arrested in Lawrence. Boy, that never happens in that town.
A Dominican national living in Lawrence was arrested and charged for alleged drug trafficking or fentanyl and methamphetamine supplied by a cartel.
In a nice town like Lawrence?
Who's your cartel supplier?
Jesus.
Charging documents state that in January of 2023, this is how far we're going back with this, investigators began looking into a North Shore-based drug trafficking organization that was allegedly being supplied by drugs by a cartel in Mexico. During the investigation, detectives identified 33-year-old Lurie Rosario, T-H-E-N.
Well, what is he now?
Laurie was Rosario.
Would he be
Then.
Lori now Rosario?
Maybe.
Or the current Lori Rosario?
Could be. As one of the drug traffickers operating in Lawrence, Rosario was arrested on February 25th, and search warrants were promptly executed by officers at his home at his alleged stash location. The stash location was described as a multi-service business with a back room allegedly containing 2 casino-style poker tables and video poker machines. The room was also said to have a high-end surveillance system. It was a speakeasy.
Huh. In Lawrence?
In Lawrence. Court filing said the basement storage room of the stash location contained 2 large locked storage boxes that contained drug equipment and paraphernalia, scales, and blenders. Law enforcement also found a small remote control that, when pressed, sounded an alarm, opened a trap wall, and revealed a hidden closet. But what do you get trapped in between the revolving bookcase? Move the book over there. Not that one. That one.
You take the blonde, I'll take the one on the Toybin. Now, let me ask you this. Okay, so they've got all this drug paraphernalia, like the scales, what have you, and then a blender. Is this operation one of those things where, okay, you got guys selling drugs, but then you're also making daiquiris after you have a few hits on the pipe?
It was a Jamba Juice. It was disguised as a Jamba Juice.
It was an Orange Julius.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, where's that Vitamix? Well, we make protein shakes and fentanyl.
For that extra kick.
Yeah, when you need a little extra bump in your day.
Yeah, right.
You take a one of these fentanyl milkshakes, fentanyl smoothies.
Yeah, it really does. Really amplifies the buzz. The good protein with a good protein shake.
8 people were arrested on Sunday in Wethersfield after police were called for a noise complaint. The 8 people, 7 adults and 1 juvenile, were talking loud and smoking when police arrived. They don't say what they were smoking.
I hate when people smoke loudly.
Will you keep that breathing and coughing down, please? The suspects evaded the scene as officers approached, but were eventually all caught. Yeah, because they have COPD from all that smoking. You're not going to run that far from the cops when you've been smoking Marlboros and Newports all day.
No, you shuffle your way to safety.
Police found 2 guns under a seat cushion where they fled the scene. All 8 suspects were charged with carrying a gun without a permit. All adults are held on bond, and the juvenile was released to a guardian. Man, you all get charged for the one gun. It was that one guy who brought the gun.
But nobody wants to take responsibility for the gun. It's not my gun, his gun.
I didn't do that. That was his. He had it all along.
How loud do you have to be talking to be disturbing the peace?
I would
like
say
yelling and screaming kind of thing?
I would say pretty damn loud. Well, I mean, you could always get one of those neighbor, like a Mrs. Kravitz.
Yeah.
Who's just sick and tired of hearing these people causing all kinds of ruckus till 10 p.m. at night.
Well, something's always going on at the Stevens house.
And that's why she's there. She was there to get all that information. She needed to tell everybody else in the neighborhood what was going on at the Stevens house. Or Abner.
Now, was Dr. Bombay there?
Yes, I believe he was.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's where all the noise comes from.
A 40-year-old woman was taken to the hospital after she was stung by a scorpion while collecting her bags at the airport at Logan. Rock you like a hurricane scorpion? Or I get stung by a scorpion every day.
Sure, you grab your luggage, all of a sudden Klaus Meine pops out of your carry-on.
Massachusetts State Police... I'm sorry. I have a traffic alert, too, but I'll get to that in a minute. Massachusetts State Police say 40-year-old woman was stung by a scorpion while getting her luggage from baggage claim at Boston Logan. The incident happened around 7:30 p.m. on Sunday. The woman had just returned on a flight from Mexico when she was stung on her finger, according to Boston EMS. She was taken to the hospital for treatment. It is not known what species of scorpion stung the woman, and police haven't said if it was captured or killed. So there's a scorpion going around Logan Airport, maybe picking up a slice of pizza at Sbarro.
Going to that one Cheers location because it makes them feel like they're part of the TV show.
Now, I wonder if he walks into, grabs a Dunkin' Ice coffee. How's he going to pay?
With the app, of course.
Yeah, well, but does the scorpion have access to the app?
Well, I'm. How do you even get into the concourse without showing tickets?
What if he stole a Dunkin' card out of somebody's bag?
They are valuable.
Oh, he's running a scorpion Dunkin' ring out there. You got to watch out for the scorpions. Dr. Carlos Santibanez studies scorpions at Western Connecticut State University. He says he's been stung several times myself. Well, that's happened to me several times myself. I've gotten stung. Like a hot needle gets under your skin. You'll feel the pain, and then the pain become numbness.
He studies scorpions?
Yeah.
Like of all the things you could have studied.
Yeah.
Scorpions.
He believes the scorpion likely hitched a ride from Mexico. With that wall that they built, how did it get over that?
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
These Mexican scorpions really are tenacious.
Well, they are.
They'll do anything to get over that border.
Since it's unclear if the arachnid was caught, he says passengers and workers should be vigilant, especially if something falls onto the ground and they need to pick it up. One of my biggest fears of flying is getting bed bugs in my luggage. Because you think about all the people that go from all different places. They're staying in hotels. They're staying in thing. You go to a place, somebody picks up bed bugs at a hotel that they stayed at. They get on the plane with you. Your bag gets put next to theirs, and then all of a sudden you get home to Massachusetts and you get bed bugs.
Yeah. Like if your kid wears another kid's hat and all of a sudden you got the head lice.
Yes. That's not something you want to deal with.
It's not like your kid's got to rub his head all over another kid's head. It's just a matter of sharing stuff or being in proximity to something.
There is an issue on the Mass Pike right now. A crash has closed a portion of the Mass Pike in Chicopee this morning. The eastbound side of the Mass Pike is currently closed between exit 49, which is Route 33, Memorial Drive, and exit 51, which is the 291 exit. That is a rollover crash in the area. No additional information on the crash is available. 22 News apparently will update you as more information becomes available. I highly doubt that, but just stay away from that portion of the pike. So between Memorial Drive East and 291, that portion of the pike is closed. So luckily, it's not a very heavily traveled road.
Oh, yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes, the Massachusetts Turnpike is a very heavily traveled road.
A 43-year-old woman in Florida named Navita Augustine was arrested for aggravated battery after she stabbed her boyfriend. All right?
Okay.
The guy said they were arguing over his reluctance to eat her cooking. Unfortunately, there's no word on what she made.
Well, how bad is her cooking?
Probably pretty bad if he said, I don't want to eat it. He told police she was swinging an 8-inch knife. That's not a knife. That's a knife. And gashed his forearm while he tried to defend himself. She admits they were arguing over her cooking, but she says she struck him with a napkin holder. In any event, the man will be fine. He received stitches and was released, but this just gives you a little forewarning to not criticize a woman for her cooking.
Ever been in that position?
What, that you didn't like something that somebody made?
Not just something that somebody made, but everything that they made. They just should not be having people over for dinner because they're awful, horrific cooks.
Now, I'm if I find myself in a situation where somebody made something that I didn't particularly care for, I still appreciate the effort that was put into trying to prepare something for me.
Right, but inside, there's a part of you that's dying.
Yeah.
Because of what you've been served.
Yeah, but I mean, how rude are you going to be? Are you going to tell them the truth and tell them that their cooking sucks? I don't think so.
My grandmother's cooking was horrific.
Yeah.
Just horrible. And, it's your grandmother. You don't want to make your grandmother cry. So I always meme, this is delicious. And it was disgusting. It was really awful. And my grandfather was such a kind-hearted man
that he wouldn't say anything.
He was like, "Oh, hon, this is delicious. Raisins and meatloaf was a great idea." One of those kinds of guys. He just was so damn agreeable.
But you know what? You probably get used to it after a while. If you have that all the time, you probably get used to this is the cuisine I'm here to live with for the rest of my life. And meanwhile, maybe she made mutton that time, and he was spitting the mutton into the napkins.
And he says, "Thanks for mutton."
Yeah, and then he let his friend take a jacket, and then she's walking down the street, and she gets mauled by a bunch of dogs because of all the mutton napkins in the pocket.
I can't imagine something like this would ever happen.
Well, you never know. It could.
Yeah,
it could.
I guess.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today, it is going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 48. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 53. It's 24 in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Things will be to Springfield's Classic Rock at 6:52 and Guns N' Roses with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 48. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 53. It's 24 right now in downtown Springfield.
Bacon and Brews is back. In fact, tickets are on sale right now. Brought to you by Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements and Aqua Pump. Just join us at the Log Cabin Sunday, April 13th from noon to 3 for the big bacon and craft beer theme bash, which we've been doing for many, many years. Admission includes all the bacon-inspired treats you can pack down your pie hole from the Log Cabin chefs, a cash bar with a selection of local craft beers like Back East Brewing and Loophole Brewing, plus live music from the band Stimulus. Early bird tickets are on sale right now at rock102.com. Get yours this week before the price goes up. You got to be over 21 with a positive ID to enter. Bacon and Brews brought to you by Dave Miner Exterior Home Improvements, Aqua Pump with help from Nor'easter Organic Life Hydroponics, the Tommy Carr Auto Group, and Rock 102 Springfield's Classic Rock.
If you missed what I said a few minutes ago, a crash has closed a portion of the Mass Pike in Chicopee this morning. The eastbound side of the Mass Pike is currently closed between exit 49, also known as Route 33, Memorial Drive, whatever you want to call it, and exit 51, which is the 291 exit. This is due to a rollover crash in the area, according to the Mass DOT. So avoid the Mass Pike between Route 33 and the I-291. Again, not a heavily traveled road, so you should be fine.
No, actually, it's a very heavily traveled road, especially in that area.
Yeah, I always say that I'm lucky that I don't have to deal with that type of traffic. You know, I don't. You know, we don't have to deal with a a commute where you're dealing with heavy traffic. Maybe on the way home. But even then, the traffic is still light because most people are at work by the time we're driving home. But sometimes, you run into a couple of traffic mishaps and stuff, but not nearly as bad as would be the afternoon drive or the morning drive. Anything after 3 p.m.
Let me tell you something. Yesterday afternoon, we were driving through 16 acres.
Why?
I don't know. But we were driving through 16 acres, and we were stuck behind a bus full of school children. And, they're all going home after a long day of school, and the buses keep stopping and letting kids off, and everyone else has got to stop and wait for the adorable little children to get to safety. Man, was that inconvenient.
Yeah, very inconvenient.
Oh, man, just wanted to get home myself, but I had to keep stopping behind the bus because apparently it's the law.
Something else I want to mention here, only because I was part of this many, many years ago. I was actually part of the very first one that they did.
Uh-huh.
And even though it's on another radio station, there should be some promotion to it because it does help local families here in Western Massachusetts. The 24th annual Radiothon for Bay State Children's Hospital is happening right now on another radio station. If you can guess which one, wink, wink. Matter of fact, I ran into the host of that show over the weekend.
You didn't? No kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
How about that?
You posted a picture. He looks completely different.
It's presented by the Hyundai Hope on Wheels. Begins today. It brings the community together to support vital pediatric care in Western Massachusetts. And having worked with again, being part of that program initially when it started, you get to hear stories about people who have had experiences with Bay State Children's Hospital. And that money goes a long way for local pediatric care. So it's really important that, you don't have to listen to the show, the program over there.
But there's a website you can follow and make your donation.
And people will ask, how do you feel about those people? It's not about how I feel about anybody. We're all doing things that better the community in Western Massachusetts. And this is also an organization, the Bay State Children's Hospital, that does provide many different services for the families, for the kids, for everybody involved when your kid has to go to a pediatric care. I think didn't you have an experience with the Bay State Children's Hospital at one point?
Absolutely.
You don't have to talk about it. I'm
not going to get into the real nuts and bolts of it, but I mean, yes, absolutely, and they were fantastic. Yeah. And I totally support what they're doing over there. Yeah. And like you said, we have no animosity towards like 99% of the people that work at that radio station.
99.9%.
99.9% of the people that work at that radio station.
No.
One guy. That's it. That's all. But everybody else is very, very cool.
I don't even with the one. I don't even care. He does.
I didn't suggest which one. But they'll have to figure it out on their own.
But listen, when we talk about the open pantry and we talk about all these different community events that we do around here, as different radio stations do, these are important events, and these are the things that, when Western Mass gets a call, you folks answer, and this is another great organization to support, so consider that.
It's 6:58 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
And now, Bax's View from the Couch, brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware, Winter Storm Headquarters, before and after the storm.
Hey, good morning, sports fans. How the heck are you? Hey, remember last month when the Dallas Mavericks and the LA Lakers completed the deal of the century by giving up the greatest 25-year-old player in Mavericks history in Luka Doncic in exchange for Anthony Davis and a bag of donuts to help sweeten the pot? How'd that thing work out? Well, that's a good question and one that I cannot wait to answer. Tonight, the Lakers will be hosting New Orleans as they look to crack off their 7th win in a row. On Sunday, Luka scored 29 points against the Clippers. That's 29 points, including 5 threes, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals. He's really quite good. So what's going on in Dallas since they let him go? Well, let's see. They've lost 4 out of the last 6 games. Anthony Davis has been out since February 20th with a painful groin injury. which, by the way, was his debut in a Dallas uniform. Last night, Kyrie Irving, formerly of the Celtics, was taken out of the game with a knee injury during the first quarter of a 24-point loss to Sacramento. And oh yeah, the Mavericks announced yesterday that they'll be raising season ticket prices next year by as much as 8.5% to, quote, increase their ongoing investment in the team and to improve fan engagement. Hey, here's an idea. You want to engage your fans? How about not trading away the best player you've ever had just to avoid paying him a Supermax contract that he deserved? How about not getting rid of a generational player and replacing him with a guy who's got a history of knee problems, shoulder issues, busted fingers, and now a groin that's practically on fire? In less than a month, you destroyed a team that made it to the NBA Finals last season, and now you want to raise ticket prices for the few remaining fans you have left? For what? To watch you make more stupid-ass trades and idiotic decisions? No thanks. I would choose to keep my money and start doing something productive with it, like spending it on things that didn't turn out to be disastrous. But hey, enough of my yapping. Sports brought to you by Rocky's Ace Hardware. You don't need a big grill. What you need is the Weber Spirit, a compact 2-burner Weber workhorse. Only $400 from Rocky's, delivered and assembled. You can take it tailgating. You can put it in the balcony. The small grill 2-burner Weber Spirit from Rocky's Ace Hardware. I'm Bax. That's my view from the couch. And Billy Idol with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Rollover on the Mass Pike. It is pretty bad. It's a tractor trailer that has covered all of the lanes. Like it's rolled over on its side across the 3 lanes there, or maybe 2. Maybe it's 2. I think it's probably 2.
Enough to mess up traffic.
Enough to impede traffic. That's eastbound between Memorial Drive and I-291. So try to avoid that area if you can. Your Pioneer Valley forecast, it's going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 48. It's 24 right now in downtown Springfield. How about a round of Am I the A-Hole?
Yes.
This is kind of gross.
Oh, good.
And it's short. Because it's pretty obvious who the a-hole is here, but I feel like the need to kind of pass this along. Am I the a-hole if I divorce my husband for not wiping himself? Yep, that's the title. My husband recently started saying that he's not going to wipe himself anymore after using the restroom. He got it into his head that alpha males do not wipe, therefore he's no longer doing it.
Alpha males do this.
Apparently, alpha males do this.
Huh.
I'm so glad I'm not an alpha.
Yeah, me too, because I couldn't stand for it.
He has been, for the past 2 days, been walking around everywhere telling men alphas do not wipe. He's very serious about not wiping, and he's not listening to reason. I don't know what to do, and I fear this might be the start of the end of our marriage. I'm thinking about divorce. Am I the a-hole for thinking so? I don't think so.
No.
I really think that perhaps, I don't know why you'd want to go walking around smelling like that all day.
I would think it'd be very uncomfortable physically, but I'm going to guess that he's trying to push you out the door.
I was going to say, he's probably, maybe he's pushing the end.
Yeah.
That means 2 things.
Right. Like maybe you're so intolerable to live with that what he really wants to do is to have you leave him rather than him leave you.
Yeah.
Not like it makes a difference, but for the love of Jesus, please take care of yourself.
Yeah. That is like one thing that it's like a lack of hygiene that people seem to be having here as of late.
Here in the building?
Anywhere.
It's surprising how so few people are aware, like fully aware of how they smell.
Yeah.
I'm noticing lately bodily smells more than ever before.
Really?
I don't know if it's because like weed, for example, is now legal. That's a pretty powerful stench. Even if you don't believe you're stinking, I can smell you from a mile away.
I can't imagine. I'm surprised at the amount of people that show up to places that you would think, like I can tell you just smoked a joint.
Yeah.
At this open house at your kid's school.
like you were smoking in the car, which is an enclosed space, which means it's got to go somewhere, and it leaches into your clothes and your flesh.
I don't think people realize there's a time and a place for all those things, and it's not right before you go into something important like, church.
A job interview.
Yeah.
A funeral.
Although, if you want to enjoy church, you probably got to be half-baked anyway, so I can kind of give that a pass.
I suppose
that's the only way to understand all that magic they got going on.
All that gobbledygook that they're talking about behind the pulpit.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on. Actually, the response under that one was, okay, that's enough internet for today. and some other person, I came in here to find out about a rattlesnake that was in my garden, and I found this.
It's the point of the day when you realize I should not be spending so much time on Reddit.
How about am I the a-hole for taking my brother-in-law to small claims court for a prank? I recently took my brother-in-law to small claims court over a prank he pulled on me, and now my wife and family are furious. I need to know if I'm in the wrong here. A few months ago, we were at a family barbecue. I had a few too many beers and fell asleep in a hammock with my shirt off. My brother-in-law, who was completely sober, thought it would be hilarious to fill my belly button with super glue. At some point, I must have touched it because when I woke up, I had glue partially dried on my belly button and on my finger. We tried to remove it, but it was stuck. The glue had adhered to my skin, and we attempted to peel it off. It caused some tearing around the edges. Unfortunately, my job's insurance has a $1,000 ER copay, but I had no choice. I had to go to the ER. They used a solvent and an ointment to remove the glue, and after everything, I was left with a medical bill of $2,200. I asked my brother-in-law to cover the bill since he caused the situation. He refused. After trying to resolve it privately, I took him to small claims court, and I won. However, he still hasn't paid. This has caused a major rift in my family. My wife is upset, and her family thinks I overreacted. So am I the a-hole for taking him to court over this?
Oh, boy. See, I don't know if I would have brought him to court. Not because of the problems with the family. I'd probably want to get him back in a similar type of
I would have
prank.
done revenge would have been better.
Yeah.
And do something
like glue a toilet seat. Like that would have been good.
Or get him drunk and write a phallic symbol on his face while he's sleeping.
Right. Or like
with a Sharpie.
Like on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Permanent marker.
Like
it takes for days to scrub
You'll
off.
never get that thing off.
And make sure he's got to go to a big meeting, a big fancy meeting.
Yeah, like the day before that big interview.
Yeah. Are you ready for something a little more salacious?
Sure.
Am I the a-hole for sleeping with my best friend's dad and then asking her to be my maid of honor? Listen, we listen and we don't judge.
No,
okay?
we know who's judging.
Yeah, this is a lot, but hear me out. I, 26 female, have been best friends with Jess, 26 female, since we were kids. We've been through everything together, bad breakups, road trips, and that one time we got banned from a karaoke bar. Oh, hilarious. Her family practically raised me, and I spent more nights at her house than my own. Well, that's kind of how the situation started, because growing up, I always had a little crush on her dad, who's 48, Mark. Yeah, I know, gross, but come on. Divorced, fit, always smelled like expensive cologne, and had that let me grill you a steak and give you life advice energy. Fast forward to last year, I was going through a rough patch after a breakup, and Mark, being the supportive father figure he is, took me out to dinner to cheer me up. One drink led to three, and before I knew it, we were back at his place, and well, things happened repeatedly over several months. Okay, before we go any further, this wasn't just a one-off. This was repeated.
Yeah.
At first, we kept it a secret. Eventually, Mark and I realized we had actual feelings for each other. He asked me to move in, and a few months later, he proposed. I said yes. Here's where it gets messy.
Oh, here's the part?
Yeah. I wanted Jess to be my maid of honor. She's my best friend. But when I told her, she freaked out. She called me every name in the book, accused me of ruining her family, and she said she'd never speak to me again.
So her answer was no.
Right. I get that it's weird, but it's not like Mark was married. But he's 20-something years older. Actually, he's probably, at that point, he was probably 50-something, right?
Probably, or older than that.
My mom says I crossed the line. Mark says Jess will come around.
Again?
What a
like she's been coming around for the last couple of years.
What a supportive mom, huh? Yeah. But now I'm wondering, am I the a-hole? Yeah, I think you are.
But so's the dad too.
Yeah, well,
That's
yeah,
a real a-hole thing to do.
Yeah, your daughter's friend.
Yeah, come on.
That's weird.
Those appetizers are off the menu.
Why would you even kind of even allow that?
Not in a million years.
I think some of these are made up.
Well, I can see a situation like this happening.
Yeah.
But it's like, really?
Well,
Is there no one closer to your own age?
I told you about that friend of mine that I had in high school. We were like really good friends, and this had nothing to do with him and I. But he had similar like family situation. He had older siblings.
Yeah.
We were both kind of like the children of the babies of the family. And he had older siblings, and his brother was like, 12 or 13 years older than him. And his brother came over with a fiancée who, they were probably like, I think they were 27 or 28 at the time. And then I hadn't seen these people in years, and then I see them years later. And it turns out the dad ran off with the brother's fiancée.
Wow.
Yeah. And it caused this, like the whole family just fell apart because this 60-something-year-old man decided to go mess around with a 20-something-year-old fiancée of his own son.
Yeah. Was that worth it? Was she worth it? Was that relationship worth all of that sacrifice and acrimony?
Well,
I would have to say in most cases, no.
Well, it made for good gossip among the people that knew them.
Yeah.
That's
they're still talking about it.
Did you
Years
hear
ago.
what happened to Billy over there? You see what he did? Do you want one more?
One more.
Am I the a-hole for sleeping with my husband's boss to get him a promotion? I know this sounds weird, but hear me out. My husband, Dan, who's 35, has been working at his company for almost 10 years. He's smart, hardworking, and honestly deserves way more than he's gotten. He's been passed over for promotions multiple times, always losing out to guys who kiss up to the boss, Greg, who's 50. Well, a few months ago, I, 32, met Greg at a company event, and let's just say I could immediately tell why the other guys were getting ahead. Greg is the type of guy who likes feeling powerful, and I could tell he liked me a lot. One night after a company party where Dan had already gone home, your husband left the company party with you
And
there.
you stayed?
As the husband, would let your wife stay with your coworkers at a party?
I know. Listen, no offense to my coworkers, but I don't think my wife wants to hang out with you people.
Greg offered to give me a ride. One thing led to another, and well, I secured my husband's promotion. And guess what? It worked. 2 weeks later, Dan got the job.
But she did it for him.
Yes, he did. You know what? If you're going to be the sacrificial lamb in a marriage, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Sleep with your husband's boss so you can solidify your longevity financially. I thought I was doing something for us, but when I finally told my best friend, she flipped out and said I was disgusting. But why? Dan's making 6 figures now. We can afford a house, and he has no idea how it happened. I took one for the team.
Yeah, you sure did. And then posted it on the internet, too. Good choice.
Well, I mean, he's never going to find out.
Oh, really?
Boy, he's so busy working that 6-figure job, he doesn't have time to scroll the internet to find out stories about him. Come on, Bax, you got to think outside the box sometimes.
Well, I wish somebody would have thought outside the box in this case.
Well, the boss thought inside the box. That's...
The boss, well, first of all, I mean, if we're to ever get out, and of course, ultimately it will get out because they almost always do, this guy's going to find out that his boss had sexual congress with his wife.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing for a workplace environment. I can see that being an HR problem.
All right.
Immediately. There's meetings, there's conference calls. Someone's going down in this situation.
All right, but if you benefited it by making an extra $50,000 a year that you were never going to make, isn't it kind of worth it? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I wish I had an answer for you, Steve, but
well,
you know
I'm
what?
Just saying.
Money doesn't buy you happiness, even if it means your wife's working extra hard to make ends meet.
Hey, again, that's a sacrifice. She sacrificed.
How selfless.
Yeah, well, exactly. Hey, listen, you enjoying that promotion? Do you know what this box has been through? It's like we went to KFC. Lots of herbs and spices going on down there.
It's 724 with Bax and Nagle at Rock 102.
Hi, it's Hank from Tudor House Liquors.
7 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Dan Brown will have the full forecast for you.
Hey, this week on Baxi's Musical Podcast, my guest is Frank Meyer from the band Street Walkin' Cheetahs. He's got his very first solo album coming out. He's been doing music for like 35, almost 40 years. His first album, solo album, comes out next Tuesday called Living Between the Lines. It's really, really good. But on top of all the music, he's also a documentary filmmaker. He's a producer and a director for places like NBC. He's a content creator for Fender Instruments. He's written a number of books, including books about the Ramones and Van Halen and a lot of other stuff. He's also the older brother of actor Breckenmeyer. It's a really cool interview, fascinating guy. You can hear that on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, rock102.com, as well as the Rock 102 app. And it's all brought to you by Metro, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram at Chicopee and Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock.
Just first of all, there's a rollover on the Mass Pike that's pretty bad. That's going to take a while to clean up. It's a tractor-trailer rollover blocking both lanes on the Mass Pike eastbound between exit 33 and, Route 33, which is Memorial Drive. I don't know what the number is. And then the I-291. So be prepared to be stuck in traffic if you're going to be going that way. Otherwise, get off at exit 49, I believe they said to get off at.
Right.
What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, the potholes over in Holyoke. I know there's that one guy out there who, I wonder if he's still not listening.
Oh, no, he's
back. I was
back.
hammering it yesterday.
Once you hear what else is out there, he's back.
The pothole still has not been fixed, that big one that I took a chunk out of my tire of.
Right.
There is a cone there. But it's one of those, like, you got to drive on the other side of the road to get around it.
That's not good.
And again, for people who say, you're bitching too much about this, I'm concerned about, emergency vehicles that need to get through there. What if there was somebody, what if your grandmother, what if your kid, what if somebody needed to get transported to the hospital? Now you got an ambulance coming on the other side of the opposite side of the road.
Yeah.
And look how many people don't pull over for ambulances. I am amazed how many people do not pull over for emergency vehicles. That is like insane. And the reasoning behind some of that is, well, they're on the opposite side of the road. How do you know where they're going to turn? You have no idea where they're going to turn. What if they turn into the side street that you're coming in the opposite lane of traffic?
You always pull over. I mean, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You don't know if you're at an intersection, you don't know where they're turning. And sometimes they got to turn in front of vehicles, to make that turn.
And then I heard yesterday, because I was asking about that DPW guy from Holyoke, who's from New Jersey.
This is the supervisor for Holyoke DPW, lives in New Jersey.
He's the DPW director, actually. He apparently commutes every week. He drives up from New Jersey on a Monday, and then he drives back on a Friday.
And then stays in New Jersey over the weekend.
He apparently has an apartment in Chicopee.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know how much of that I can believe.
I mean,
it makes it hard to believe.
Well, okay, technically he's got a decent salary, but
yeah, but
what a pain in the ass that is for that kind of money.
But think about a decent salary that you're spending. Think about how much money you're spending renting an apartment in Chicopee. Unless that's part of the deal.
How much money you're spending on gas just to get to work? Every week.
Did you ever drive through New Jersey, New York traffic? No matter which way you go, it takes you more than 3 hours to get to where you're going.
Of course it does.
So I don't know if I actually believe any of that. I
believe it's possible, but even still.
Yeah, but
even,
that would
even
make
he's here. But that's even That's still no excuse for not dealing with the pothole problem.
But this is my point. That would seemingly, for $111,000 a year, would be good scratch if you didn't have to leave New Jersey. But the idea that you're commuting back and forth with all the tolls, the wear and tear on your car, all those potholes that you hit along the way, and then to come up here to rent an apartment for a month, that doesn't seem like fiscally plausible to do.
It's a terrible job.
And again, I don't know the facts. I'm just going by hearsay.
Wow.
So if you just, maybe if somebody has any more information about what this guy does with his time, because he's clearly not fixing the potholes in the area.
It's 7:32 with Bax and Nagle and Rock 102. Icon Steve Nagle.
Thanks, Bax. Speaking of Holyoke Public Schools set to exit receivership by July 1st this year, but one local teachers association is worried about some promises that may be left behind to let the state keep more control. A recent Facebook post by a Holyoke teacher caught the attention of Western Mass News that has expressed some concerns regarding the district's receivership status and the impact it could have on collective bargaining. Holyoke Public Schools was taken over by the state in April of 2015 after posting consistently low graduation rates and an increasing dropout percentage. 10 years later, the district is set to be returned to local control at the end of the school year by July 1st. However, one of the city's teachers' unions is worried that the state may keep more control than the teachers would like. Part of the law states that the DESE commissioner can keep parts of the turnaround plan in place after receivership is up for over 2 years, so we know this is a possibility, explained Nick Cream, president of the Holyoke Teachers Association.
Okay.
In a recent Facebook post, the Holyoke teacher claims that the DESE's acting commissioner said that he's considering a turnaround plan that would allow the state to keep some control over student improvement. Cream tells Western Mass News why this concerns teachers. We have more school days, longer school days, more professional development days, and longer hours, so it's something any Holyoke teacher I've spoken to will tell you that it's draining. Cream says that this covers things like grievance procedure and performance-based pay salaries, items they want control over. Because I don't think the state will let them do it.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see the point in a way. I mean, you're coming off receivership. They've held you in this state of limbo for a long period of time. Because if you remember, we talked about this a while back. For a long time, the state never really gave the city of Holyoke, any plans, any markers they had to hit in order to get out of receivership. I would think that the state is going to want to have some influence here to make sure that now that they're looking to phase receivership out, that there's still some oversight with what they do. So, I mean, I can see that part of it, but I can also see how teachers want to teach. They want to get back to doing what they feel they do best. And, sometimes that kind of oversight by the state is a little
taxing,
a little cumbersome.
Cumbersome. I like that word.
I have become cumbersome.
Yeah.
To some.
I like cumbersome because it sounds dirty to some.
Isn't that what you wear with a tux across your waist?
No. That's a cummerbund. You're thinking of that gas station that I saved years ago.
No, Steve. That's a Cumberland Farms. You're thinking of the place that sells those cinnamon rolls in a shopping mall.
No, that's a Cinnabon. I don't even know where to go with that. By the way, this Cumberland Farms incident, that was 12 years ago last week that happened.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
12 years ago?
Yeah, I saw it come up on my Facebook memories.
And it is still the talk of the town.
No, it's not.
Everybody.
It's only the talk of the town when you keep dredging it up and telling everybody that it happened.
See, the people in Westfield still thank you for your service.
I still have that day dedicated to. Well, when they give you a day in a town, is it only for that one day of that 1 year, or is it every year?
Yeah, I'm afraid it's only 1 year.
Ah, well, that sucks. I had that whole Westfield day that Dan Knappich gave me.
I mean, if Mayor Knappich had done it right, it should have been
annual
annual Steve Nagle Day. If I were the mayor of that city, of the Whip City, I would have given it to you.
You could tell that's when he was on his way out that he did that.
That's like a presidential pardon.
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
like,
you pardon your whole family.
I'm just doing dumb shiznit now for the next couple of months until I get out of this job and go somewhere else.
This'll teach them.
One person
it's
is
annual Steve Nagle Day. They'll never get that one out of their way.
This one will never come off the books. One person is facing charges after a weekend fire in Chicopee. Emergency crews responded to 143 Edgewood Avenue around 10 a.m. Sunday for a fire that quickly grew to 2 alarms. 3 people were displaced by the fire. No injuries were reported. A joint statement from local and state officials indicated that investigators found that the fire was intentionally set based on witness interviews and evidence from the scene. 60-year-old Lori Ann Kowal of Chicopee was taken into custody on a charge of burning a dwelling. 60 years old.
60
She's
is the
still
new
got that spark in her, apparently.
60 is the new 40, Steve.
Yeah, she's flaming hot, that lady.
She is.
The cause and origin of
She's got a spark about her.
The cause and origin of the fire remains under investigation by Chicopee Police and Fire Departments. Fire investigators assigned to the State Fire Marshal's office and the Hamden DA's office. So we don't know any more about that other than, what we just talked about.
Right.
We don't know what she did, how she started the fire, or how she allegedly started the fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be proven in court.
A Springfield man has been arrested after police seized a loaded gun from him over the weekend on Mattoon Street. Police say they received a tip that 22-year-old Eric Brown of Springfield was allegedly in possession of a gun around 4 p.m. on Friday. Officers surveilling him watched as he reportedly left a home on Northampton Avenue and get into the back of a car. He got out on Mattoon Street where police caught up to him. They seized a loaded handgun from his jacket pocket. Brown was placed under arrest and is now facing 3 firearms charges. Springfield police note that Brown was out on probation after being found guilty of armed assault with intent to murder in connection to a shooting in January of 22.
Okay.
All right. Springfield man has been arrested in connection to 2 business break-ins. Shortly after midnight Saturday morning, officers responded to a convenience store on the 100 block of Chestnut Street, whose alarm was going off after being forcibly broken into. Video of the store showed the suspect walking off with the cash register drawers. Hey, what do you got in your hand there? Nothing.
That looks like a cash register drawer.
The same suspect, identified as 61-year-old. Again,
What?
What's up with what is this, AARP crime over the weekend?
Well, once you've spent that $16 membership fee and get that tote bag and you realize that's all I got out of this was a tote bag, sometimes you want to recoup your loss.
Jose Vasquez, who's also seen breaking into a business on the 100 block of State Street and leaving with that register, that's where officers found him allegedly holding that register drawer and placed him under arrest. Vasquez is now facing charges of burglary and breaking and entering. Why wouldn't you take the money out of the drawer before you took it with you? Before you left the store with it?
Well,
if you got the drawer open,
you want a fast getaway.
Yeah, the fast getaway would be like 20s, 10s, 5s, 1s. Forget the change. That ain't going to get you anywhere.
I guess.
Just the big bills.
You bring up a good point. I probably wouldn't have stolen. I would have, the money is really where the action's at, the drawer. Once you take the money out of the drawer, you're stuck with a drawer.
A tradition that's made its way over from Poland hundreds of years ago has been brought to light through an Indian Orchard bakery. From the new year until this week, local bakeries, including Chmura's in Indian Orchard, sell limited-time treats catered to the Polish community. When's the paczkis coming out? When's the paczki?
Punchkis.
No, paczkis.
It's punchki.
No, I'm not Polish. It's paczkis. That's the way it's spelled. That's the way why didn't they just say P-O-O-N?
Because you can't have pastries without a C and a Z in there.
It's a paczki.
It's a punchki.
Paczki.
Punchki.
Whatever.
Anyhow.
Anyway, when's the punchis coming out? Said Chmura's owner Joe Anselmo. It's become actually a very popular thing in the U.S., especially in heavy Polish areas. The punchki, which is essentially a dense donut stuffed with flavored filling, is a beloved tradition in Polish culture. And, of course, they're going fast now because Lent starts tomorrow for Ash Wednesday. So this is the last day to get your treats in before the punchki goes away until next year.
Today is Fat Tuesday, isn't it?
It is Fat Tuesday.
Today is Fat Tuesday, and we don't have any punchkis here.
Which to me, Bax is every Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, but it's like it's the day, man. It's the day. This is the day we're supposed to really start chowing down.
We were supposed to have cake day today.
What happened?
They have a meeting upstairs, so we had to move it to Monday, which would have been yesterday.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to work out for several employees. So now it's been moved to tomorrow, which is then into the Lenten season. And I'm sure rain and hellfire from above will come down because we're eating sugar on Lent. That's a personal thing, though, right? The sugar on the Lent thing. I'm cutting out sugar for 40
Well, you're not.
days.
I mean, you're supposed to have some fasting. There's some fasting on these holy days of obligation.
Fasting.
Yes, that's right.
They changed all the rules over the years.
It's very hard to keep track of it all.
Children under 10 doesn't have to adhere to the. I was like, I don't know. In my house, it was always like, no, we're eating fish on Fridays and Ash Wednesday.
Right. I mean, I have some place to be at 1:00 tomorrow, so I'm hoping this cake thing, take it at 10, and then at 10:15, and then we're done by 10:30, and then I can go on with my day. Got a very, very busy week ahead of me.
You know what? It's a chocolate ricotta cake. It's kind of worth going against your religious beliefs for one day to enjoy that.
I suppose.
Wouldn't God want you to enjoy the day? I know there's restrictions in place, but if it brings people happiness, then you can enjoy the sugary deliciousness of a chocolate ricotta cake.
Understood.
Is that a cannoli cake, or is that two different things?
I believe that's the cannoli cake.
All right. So
Yeah.
chocolate ricotta. I cannot wait for that.
I know.
That's going to be a
Now,
good
is this
one.
the cannoli cake with the chocolate chips in it, or is the actual filling chocolate?
I don't know. It just said chocolate ricotta.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what that means.
It sounds terrific.
Well, we're going to find out.
Yes, we are.
So it was a way to use up food before Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, traditionally marked by 40 days of fasting and restraint from rich foods. Since migrating to the United States, the punchki has evolved from just a simple glazed pastry. Today, you can get anything from raspberry, blueberry, cream, any type of filling. Funny, it's Fat Tuesday. We don't have any punchkis up in our break room.
The the traditional filling, Steve, I don't know if you are aware of this.
Yeah.
Prune.
It probably doesn't taste as bad as it sounds.
People are frightened by prunes, but you know what? Dried fruits are delicious, and prune is quite good.
But
it just loosens you up by the end of the day.
Well, but prune is like emulsified, right? Emulsified, and then
it's made into a
sugar.
Yeah,
and
it's
made into a jelly.
It's a prune jam that's
know.
jammed into the punchki.
You can give me a prune.
I'll tell you what, man. It's early. It's 7:46.
Yeah, I don't see any punchkis here.
I would love to see some punchkis here.
Fat Tuesday. It's your Mardi Gras.
I think Steve and I should be set up. That's all. It's asking too much.
Now the prunes have pits to them, don't they?
Yeah, but not on the jam.
So what if we throw some beads at you? You going to show us your pits?
That would be terrific.
Yeah, because it is Mardi Gras. You know?
Yeah.
Throw the Mardi Gras beads at you. You're going to show us your pits.
There's no more Mardi Gras in Springfield.
We can make one. We can relive. We can recreate anything you want.
Listen, that's fine.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast today going to be a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 49. Tomorrow, rain with a high of 53. It is currently 27 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Rock 102, Springfield's classic rock. At 7:53 in Quiet Riot with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
It is going to be a mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 49. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 53. It's 27 right now in downtown Springfield.
Real quick, this week in Baxy's Musical Fun Bag, I'm going to do a special tribute to the late David Johansen from the New York Dolls. He died over the weekend at the age of 75 after a long battle with cancer. We'll have a bunch of songs from the New York Dolls, plus things from the normal stuff. It's all brought to you by Raspberries Records. By the way, record store date's coming up on April 12th. Raspberries Records will be participating in both the locations in Ludlow and in East Longmeadow, so make sure you check that out. Sunday night, 9 o'clock, right here on Rock 102.
There you go.
Okay.
What are we going on? What do we got here? TikTok. Oh, yeah, the TikTok trends. Love watching the TikToks. Lots of stuff on TikToks.
What's the big trending thing now?
This might sound like bad parenting advice, most likely because it is bad parenting advice. TikTok moms have been telling parents to try feeding their babies spoonfuls of butter. They claim it helps them sleep through the night.
Spoonfuls of butter?
Yeah, moms in the U.S. started the trend because, of course, we did. But it spread to other countries, too, like England and New Zealand. A lot of tired parents feel like it's worth a shot. So what's the harm? But experts say there's no reason it would work. And despite what TikTok says, it's not harmless. That much saturated fat is not good for anyone, especially a baby.
Well, I think when you realize that it doesn't work in putting the baby to sleep, you're probably not going to keep doing it.
A dollop of butter can also cause a serious choking hazard. Well, you got to do it in little spoonfuls.
Yeah, I mean, you're not giving like the whole stick.
It's normal for kids to not sleep through the night. It's kind of part of the deal. So don't shove butter in their face to shut them up. You feed them NyQuil. That's how we used to do it back in the day.
Like Benadryl, that was the way to really start to really parenting.
Yeah. Did you ever have any? You know what? This might be a good topic for after 8 o'clock. You have any remedies in your family from older people that seemingly was supposed to work but never really did?
We can talk about it after 8 o'clock if you want to. But there was one that actually did kind of work, and I'm not really sure why. But there was one thing that was going around the family for a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what's your favorite tip that your ancestors gave you that didn't work out? 293-1021. We'll take your calls after 8.
It's 7:56 of Bax and Nagle on Rock Classic Rock. It's 8:09. And Queen with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
I believe there is still a rollover accident on I-90 between Memorial Drive and I-291. So, and somebody said it's westbound. 22 says it's eastbound. I don't know who's telling the truth.
Well, they said it was eastbound, right?
Yeah.
So it's likely that traffic has slowed down westbound.
Probably.
Because everyone wants to know what's going on.
I mean,
eastbound.
The picture of the tractor trailer showed showed the cab of the tractor trailer in the median of the highway. So hopefully everybody's safe and nothing horrible happened, but it is causing a traffic backup on that stretch of the Mass Pike. We talked before the break here. Some remedies, home remedies that either worked or didn't work that you were told growing up. I know, my grandmother used to swear that if you had a toothache, a shot of whiskey,
right,
that you should swirl around in your mouth. But who could not drink the whiskey while you were doing it? I mean, even at that young age of 10.
Yeah, I remember like a lot of people were like real high on like the blackberry brandy.
Yeah,
because no one normally drinks blackberry brandy unless they're feeling ill. But yeah, that used to be a thing. I don't know why. I don't even know where this came from, but I remember as a kid, and I don't know if it was like my grandmother's recipe or like a family friend, this older friend that my parents had, that came up with this homemade cough syrup.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm trying to remember what was in it. It was a bunch of stuff. It was like honey and lemon and the apple cider vinegar, ginger, and I think bourbon was in it too.
Yeah.
And
that sounds like delicious.
No, it was awful. It tasted terrible.
Yeah.
But I'll be damned if it didn't stop you from coughing.
Some lady
I think because you were so drunk by the end of it that you didn't even notice the cough.
Some lady wrote in, I know you're talking about things that didn't work. If you were speaking about things that did, it would be a whole different animal. My parents, when I was a child, gave us Pergoric. Yeah, that's the reason it worked. It had opium in it. Now, Pergoric was a anti-diarrhea medication, which I still believe is available. And I can't believe it still has opioids in it.
Yeah.
That they sell it over the counter like that.
It's a camphorated tincture of opium.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you could even get that.
There you go. Here, if you feel a cold coming on, shower, then Vicks on the bottom of your feet and put socks on. Works great. How are you supposed to walk around the bedroom with Vicks all over your feet?
You know, Vicks,
Yeah.
there are some cultures that use it for everything. Sleeping, breathing, hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids. Vicks on hemorrhoids? That would sound counterintuitive to what you were doing. Or counteractive. What is it? Counterintuitive or counteractive?
Counterintuitive.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to make any sense, but there are some people that swear by it.
I don't know, put Vicks on the no-go hole is a good idea.
Although
the smell would that would help that guy who didn't wipe himself in that "Am I the a-hole?"
Can't be any worse than any rupturing hemorrhoids.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that book. There was a book that came out. If you have, by the way, on the Route 10 Tire listener line 293-1021, if you have any remedies that work or don't work, or you were told something that worked when you were a kid, but realized it was just a bunch of shiznit. There was a book that came out years ago by this shyster, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he wound up going to jail for it because he was screwing people out of money. It was things they don't want you to know about, and he never said who they was.
But it's the universal they.
The universal they.
Right.
And most of the thing, because I remember picking the book up for $1 eventually, and most of the things in the book were like things that people already knew. The one thing that he said in the book was, hey, if you have heartburn, use a teaspoon of vinegar.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm thinking that would burn. You would think that would make it worse. Here's my remedy for heartburn. When you don't have any like Rolaids or anything like that,
yeah,
a teaspoon of baking soda in some warm water, and just gulp it down.
See, that makes sense.
You'll burp. You will burp, and you'll feel relieved.
But
afterwards.
Isn't that kind of what like an Alka-Seltzer is?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't have like any of those antacid type stuff available, but you have baking soda, that's a perfect remedy for that.
All right. Well, there were some people calling, but then they got cold feet. Speaking of feet, I've also
they
heard.
probably were talking about the baking soda in the warm water.
I've also heard this too. Like if you're coughing at night.
Yeah.
Put like onions in your socks and put socks on your feet and go to sleep. That sounds terrible to me. And then all of a sudden your bed smells like onions. I don't know if you want to deal with that.
This guy on the internet says, when I start getting a sore throat, I gargle with Listerine once an hour. That doesn't seem like a good idea either. You have alcohol drying out your throat.
Well, that might not actually be the worst thing.
All right.
Let's see here. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, this is Karen from Enfield. How are you?
Good, Karen. What's up?
I'm with Bax, Blackberry Brandy.
Yeah.
That was my parents' cure-all for everything.
But did it work, or did it just was it just a reason for your parents to share booze with you?
Could be either one, but I could say it did help with my sore throats.
Yeah.
You see, Blackberry Brandy was like that was the thing. That was the thing that
it was.
Like they used to say, like a kid, like an infant is teething, that like rubbing the Blackberry Brandy on their gums would alleviate the excruciating pain they go to when they're teething.
Yes, I did that with my kids when they were babies.
There you go.
And when was Family Services called?
When they were 18.
That makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thanks for the call.
Appreciate it.
Have a great day, you guys.
You bet.
Remember my wife used to make, if you had a cold, she used to make tea. Actually, it wasn't even tea. It was just hot water. It was like a hot toddy. You ever have a hot toddy?
Sure.
So it was tea, honey, or not tea, hot water, honey, and a shot of ginger brandy, like Allen's ginger brandy.
Right.
And, if you drank enough of those, you forgot you even had a cold. That was the beauty of that remedy.
You could have cut out the middleman, avoided the water.
It might not have cured you.
Just gone after the ginger brandy.
Yeah.
Which is not simple. It's not always easy to put down.
Toss in a Claritin, and you got yourself a nice little mocktail.
But you can breathe so easily.
Actually, it did help increase breathing.
So this is something on the Route 10 Tire Listen line. This is actually true. This does work. Ever get leg cramps?
Yeah.
Like at night?
Yeah.
One of the things that they tell you to do, and it's absolutely true, is a tablespoon of yellow mustard.
A tablespoon of yellow mustard.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's
why yellow mustard? You can be a Golden's brown mustard.
Apparently, there's something in the yellow mustard that will actually cure a leg cramp, and I've done that. And it's worked.
Yeah. A shot of apple cider vinegar is actually fantastic for indigestion. I kind of get the logistics around it because you're adding acid to your stomach, whereas the acid's trying to come up, and that's the reason why you're not. Right. But I don't know. I don't know if I could handle the burn. I'd rather just take the baking soda.
It's kind of like those people that'll say, when you have diarrhea.
Yeah.
That drinking extra fiber is actually good for you, which to me seems kind of counterintuitive. The last thing I want is something that's going to make me want to have more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. It doesn't work that way. It's the opposite way.
What we got on the phone?
All right, Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, am I on the air?
Yes, you
are.
Woo!
All right, very good. Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, it's Hawkman calling.
All right, Hawkman. What do you got?
I got a good home remedy that my mother always did for my sister and I when we get a cold.
All right, go for it.
You get like a big sack of onions and you steam them, and then you put that on a cloth on your chest and you breathe that in for a couple hours, and that'll break up a chest cold and a head cold.
Really? I have never heard that.
Or you can do what my father did is you drink 2 shots of wild turkey 101 that night for a week and the cold goes away.
That's why he lives with his mother.
Yeah. Alcohol does seem to cure everything, doesn't it? Yeah.
It really does. It is a cause of and the solution to all of life's problems. Mm-hmm. There you go. Thanks for the call.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Onions. And now the person here saying is that there's turmeric in the yellow mustard, and that's the thing that does it.
So why don't you just take turmeric?
Because not everybody has turmeric paste. It's usually a powder. You got to mix it with something.
Yeah. And
that vinegar is not an acid. Vinegar is a base, and that's why, like apple cider vinegar, works on like indigestion and other things like that.
Hey, here's one. Blowing cigarette smoke in a child's ear to soothe an earache. They knew what they were doing back then.
Yeah. All they needed is just to shove a Camel in your ear.
Yeah, give me a lucky strike and come on over here, boy. Gonna get that earache away. Letting a dog lick your wounds to keep it from being infected. Let me tell you, that's been disproved over and over and over again because of the bacteria that is on a dog's tongue.
Yeah.
You think about all the things a dog eats all day. Like its own feces.
Or its own vomit. I actually had to shovel a pile of vomit because my dog was starting to eat it, and had to shovel it and then throw it into the woods.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'd want to come into the house and then lick your face after he was done with it.
I remember my grandmother gave me vodka and milk to go to sleep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Vodka and milk?
Warm milk and vodka.
Ugh.
Like she must have put a shot. And you know what? I didn't know. I thought it was weird tasting to begin with, but I was like 8 years old. I think I was up on Christmas night or Christmas Eve, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was so excited that Santa was going to come, and I couldn't fall asleep. So my grandmother said, "Here, drink this," and I did, and I was out like a light. And then years later, when I had vodka for like the second time apparently,
right?
But tasting vodka, I'm like, This was what was in that milk so many years ago.
Someone is saying that a dog licking can cure loneliness, too. Okay, you know what? That's not right.
All
That's not
right,
right.
yeah.
You're ashamed of yourself.
Is that a Shih Tzu?
Yeah, I have no idea.
There you go.
It's 8:22 at Rock 102. 102 Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:28 in Springsteen at Rock 102.
Dan Brown, we'll have the full forecast for you.
Just 22 just showed video of the truck on the Mass Pike. Yeah, that's going to be a mess for a bit.
Yeah, and it is eastbound. That guy was wrong when he wrote it instead of westbound. It's probably causing backups on both sides of the highway, though,
right.
Because how are you supposed to rubberneck without driving down the Mass Pike in the westbound direction?
You see a knife that's been excuse me, a truck that's been overturned. Yeah. You're going to look. I don't know how you can not look.
By the way, somebody wrote in and said, I think vodka and milk is called a dead goat. Well, it certainly tasted like one. A rotting dead goat corpse. Another one. What was the other one? To cure hiccups. Use a butter knife and a glass of water. Drink the water with the knife on your forehead.
That's ridiculous.
I've always heard to drink the glass of water sideways, like on the side of your mouth. So
really?
It's about taking air in. Like it's. I think the portion of that. I think that's kind of what this thing about the butter knife is.
The only person that I know that actually suggested something that actually cured hiccups.
Bob Kester. Yeah.
Bob Kester. That whole breathing thing he had.
Yeah, you take a big deep breath,
yep.
and then you hold it, and then you breathe in just a little bit more, and then you slowly let it out, and it cures. It
works.
Hiccups, sometimes it works.
Most of the times it works,
time, yeah.
but you got to. But I think you breathe in, and then you hold it. You breathe in again, and you hold it, and then you slowly exhale. But you got to slowly exhale.
Now I'm going to jinx myself. I haven't had hiccups in a long time.
Yeah. But Bob Kester had that. It was like magic, total sorcery.
How does a hiccup happen? What's the deal going on there?
I don't really know. I don't know what the actual mechanism of a hiccup is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd look it up, but unfortunately, we have news next at Rock 102.
Buy and Drive.
8:32 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102. It's time for news. Here's local radio icon Steve Nagle.
Well, thanks, Bax.
Oh, you're very welcome, Steve.
Usually when people steal from a business, they don't just take the register drawer. They take the whole, either the whole cash register or just the money inside. This guy in Springfield, a man, has been arrested in connection with 2 business break-ins shortly after midnight on Saturday morning. Officers responded to a convenience store on the 100 block of Chestnut Street, whose alarm was going off after being forcibly broken into. Video of the store showed the suspect walking off with the cash register drawers. The same suspect, identified as 61-year-old Jose Vasquez, was also seen breaking into a business on the 100 block of State Street and leaving with that register. Okay, with that the whole register or just the drawer?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's where officers found him allegedly holding that register and placed him under arrest. Vasquez is now facing charges of burglary and breaking and entering.
You know, it's hard to tell simply from those details alone whether we're talking about someone who's intelligent or not. But at 61 years old, shouldn't you be committing more age-appropriate crimes?
Yeah, like stealing an extra Danish from the senior center.
Yeah, or
on
like
free coffee day.
Stealing somebody else's prescription, or for gout or something.
Those are classes in the Steve Nagle College of Criminal Knowledge. There are age-appropriate crimes to be committed.
Yeah, I mean, stealing a cash register at 61 years old. I mean, that's a young man's game. I don't care who you are. It's kind of like like a foot chase with police going after you. At 61 years old, you're not going to you're going to evade the cops.
True.
If you got like a 41-year-old cop, okay, and he's chasing a 61-year-old man, guess who wins that foot race? The cop, every single time, even at 41.
41.
Yeah, I mean that's an arbitrary number, obviously, but I think I've made my point. 61-year-old guy should not be committing crimes that are not appropriate towards his age group. It's simple.
Well, I think now maybe we're meddling into age discrimination here. You're telling me a 60-year-old man can't pull a catalytic converter off a Toyota faster than a 20-year-old? He's been around the block a few times.
Of course he's capable of doing that.
Yeah.
But isn't that really a crime that makes more sense for someone who's younger?
Could be.
61 years old, I mean, you're absolutely right. Maybe steal something out of like I don't know, where do old people go these days?
Well, not Denny's. That's closed.
That's closed. Okay. Well, they go to the coffee shop. They go to a coffee shop. Steal some Sweet and Lows.
Is that a crime? Stealing Sweet and Lows?
If you have no...
What? That's a good question. What is the appropriate amount of condiments you can take from... Let's say you bought something. You walk into a coffee shop.
Yeah.
They have all of that stuff for you to use for your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sign, there's no policy of how to limit how much you take.
Right.
So how much can you take when it's just sitting out there?
I think you take what you feel you're going to use.
Yeah, but I mean, if I want some extra for later, do I put a fistful in my pocket? Is that still okay? Because it's still sitting out there and there's no policy saying I can't do that.
I mean, if there's no policy, then, what's to stop you?
That's true. That's a good moral question.
Yeah.
A man has been arrested for urinating and pleasuring himself in the Meriden, Connecticut train station lobby.
Is that wrong?
I got to plead ignorance here. Had I had known the policy. See, there's no policy for that.
Yeah, right. But if I take too many horsey sauces from the Arby's, all of a sudden I'm a jerk.
Connecticut State Police say they were notified of the incident by Connecticut Rail Security on November 6th of 2024.
Ooh, what is it, March 4th?
Yeah, the man, later identified as 23-year-old Justin Robinson, had fled the scene before police arrived. And then he arrived after pleasuring himself in the Meriden train station lobby.
Have you ever been in a train station and you're waiting forever for your train to arrive?
Yeah.
I mean, like a long, long time.
Have I ever what? What was the?
Well, I remember like years ago, I was at South Station in Boston, okay, and I was waiting for a train to arrive. I was taking a train from South Station to Chicago. I took the choo-choo out of South Station.
How long does that take?
Forever.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is this. Some point, you run out of things to do.
So you might as well sit there and play with the joystick.
I mean, I can see where a man could be bored to tears, and if he was at home and doing nothing, that might be one of the first things he does. It just seems like in the middle of a train station, that might not be your first choice.
Yeah.
But if you're really bored,
all right,
maybe it is.
I can see what's happening here. This incident happened in November. He just was taken into custody the other day. That's why it's a news story still.
Fingerprints?
I don't know if they had any DNA evidence that they had to use.
You know how those labs get backed up.
We found this jelly slob on one of the benches. Is it you?
No, that's the everyday jelly slob.
We did a 23 and skeet test, and it turns out it's you, sir. March 1st on 2025, he was taken into custody by the Meriden police for an unrelated charge. Meriden police then contacted state police regarding the warrant out for his arrest. He was turned over to State Police Troop H. He was arrested and charged. Was that for handy? Hey, who takes care of the pleasuring self in public cops? Well, that's Troop H, Troop Handies.
Yeah. Show of hands.
He was arrested and charged with criminal mischief and in third-degree disorderly conduct and public indecency. He was later released on a $10,000 bond and scheduled to appear in court on March 19th.
Yeah. So the labs took some time to come. This has been in Massachusetts, and Annie Dukin was still working for the Massachusetts State Lab.
Yeah.
This guy would have got off scot-free.
The old manual override. There he is, just squeezing out lemonade here in the center of the train station. We knew it was you. We'd catch up to you one of these days. Is that How to Drain Your Dragon? Is that how the series of books or movies he was looking at?
I don't know.
Are you sure? Maybe messing with the Sasquatch a little bit too much? What's some other ones? I'm reading off a list. Could you tell?
No.
Shaking hands with the unemployed.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Nuttin'. Hey, what are you doing here? I ain't nuttin'.
At least not yet.
Yeah. Going number 3. Oh, that's a good one.
I think one of your better ones was feeding baloney to the Smurfs.
Well, I mean that
takes the cake.
I like putting Mr. Kleenex's kids through college on the 5-knuckle shuffle, the waxing the dolphin, punching the clown, wrestling the bald-headed champion, going on a date with Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters,
slapping little Johnny behind the ears. I know that one too.
Shaking hands with a soldier.
Uh-huh.
Some guy responded, I knew my dad wasn't really in Iraq. Making Fapple sauce. Did you ever have some of that Fapple sauce?
No.
Are you sure?
No, I've done that whole apple picking thing, but I never let it go that far.
Banging Manti Te'o's girlfriend. Lightsaber practice with Captain Solo. Bleeding the radiator. I kind of...
Ooh, it's gotten hot in here.
Maybe we should end with that.
Yeah, I think that's
you think so?
You're not gonna top that.
Your Pioneer Valley forecast is going to be a mix of sun and clouds today, with a high of 48. Tomorrow, rainy with a high of 53. It's 30 right now in downtown Springfield. I'm Steve Nagle, and that's the news on Rock 102. Oh, yeah.
Did you hear?
Rock 102, Springfield's Classic Rock. It's 8:47, and the Foo Fighters with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 48. It is 30 right now in downtown Springfield.
Remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about...
No.
Well, we were talking about like the low number license plates.
Oh, yeah.
The Dr. Seuss ones that were coming out.
Ridiculous, yeah.
I saw this story this morning, and this is like this story came out like on New England Public Media or whatever, like yesterday. You know what it's going to cost to get one of those low number Dr. Seuss license plates?
I'm guessing more than what it's worth.
In many cases, it could be worth more than your car. The auction for these goes through March 10th. Opening bids for the 99 low number plates are ranging anywhere between $1,000 and $25,000.
What?
Yes.
For what reason?
Status. Pure.
Status of what? To me, whether you paid $1,000, what did you say the lowest amount was?
$1,000
to $25,000.
To $25,000.
You're a douchebag either way.
That's the thing.
That's your status. You're just more of a rich douchebag if you spent $25,000 on it versus $1,000.
Now,
how stupid is that?
The good news is that if you are one of these people that goes ahead and makes the bid, all that money goes to the Springfield Museum's literacy education program, which is great, which is wonderful. But if you're going to be driving around town with, like, say, the number 69 on your license plate and you spent $25,000 to get it, everybody in town is not looking at you going, oh, how cool is that? He got 69 with Dr. Seuss. No, everyone in town is saying, look at that douchebag. Probably spent $25,000 to get that license plate.
Let's say you're into Dr. Seuss that much. You're into supporting the museums of Springfield, which is great that you're into supporting that. Wouldn't you rather have your name up on a plaque or like a board at the actual museum where the Dr. Seuss say, hey, say, we got a great donor here. He donated $25,000 to this thing, and congratulations to this man. He helped us out. He helped doing the Dr. Seuss Museum. But to drive around with a plate on your car just shows what an idiot you
an
are.
identifying mark of someone who's an idiot. If you want to do the right thing and donate to the Springfield museums, how about just write a check?
No kidding.
And just leave it at that without everyone focused in on the fact that you spent way too much money to have this status symbol in the back of your car.
$1,000? And here's the other thing. You're not telling me that all of that money that gets collected by the RMV here in Massachusetts is going directly to the Springfield museums. This is why I'm saying your donation directly to the Springfield Museum would make a lot more sense.
Right.
Because how much of those fees actually get collected by the state versus how much actually goes to the charity?
I don't know. I don't know the math of that. Oh, here's the other thing. You can afford, if you can't afford one of the low number plates, they got the 4-digit specialty Dr. Seuss plate, which can be purchased for a much more reasonable $40 at the RMV. All right, that's fine. I could do that and then write a bigger check privately to the museums without having everybody look at me like I'm some sort of nutcase. But if I got like a 5 and I got the Lorax and the Cat in the Hat on my license plate, I got to tell you, no one's looking at you like you're cool. Everyone's looking at you like, what a dope did that.
How about this one? You get a license plate that says 1D2 DRDBD.
What does that mean?
1 douche, 2 douche, red douche, blue douche. Because that describes exactly what you are for donating that amount of money to the RMV when you could easily just write a check directly to the Springfield museums to keep them afloat.
And to think that my car got jacked on Mulberry Street.
Well, yeah, it probably will. And you're getting a license plate out of that when you're absolutely right. Obviously, somebody with that kind of money has a nice car. I can't see that on like an 86 Isuzu. You know what I mean? Like, you're not...
At that point, your license plate is worth more than the car.
And, frankly, your car deserves to get stolen on...
Listen, I'm not trying to take money out of the museum's pocket by any means, but if you really want to donate.
That's what I'm saying.
Privately.
You can help if you really believe in the museum that much. But is it really believing in the museum, or is it really just more about you being a douchebag?
It's more about you having the status of a low number douche plate.
Douche plate. Who's got a douche plate? You might as well write today's sponge on it. Or Massengill. Massengill. Yeah, write that on it. Yeah, whatever.
Will the owner of a Summer's Eve Buick please report to the...
I think we got a douchebag on the phone that wants that plate.
Rock 102. Good morning. Who's this?
Hi.
Hi.
This is Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Jen, how are you?
Hi. I'm calling about the what is it? I don't want to say Cat and Hat.
Oh, the license plate. The Dr. Seuss plate. Sure.
Dr. Seuss. Yeah, I think you guys are being really hard on it on the whole thing. I think it's amazing.
Well, it's amazing if you want to make a donation to the Springfield Museums, which is a great cause. But don't you think that you could just make that without having, doing it for the status of it all? Don't you think that'd be maybe a better use of your money?
So I think that no matter how they get the plate, if the museum is benefiting, then I think that's fantastic. I also think it would be cool for out-of-staters to see that and remember that the home of Dr. Seuss.
But you could, I don't know. But you can get a 4-digit specialty plate for $40 at the registry. Here, here it's a plate, between $1 and $99 for between $1,000 and $25,000. If you wanted to make a donation to the museum, all you got to do is write a check.
Yeah.
You don't have to...
And your name would go up on a plaque probably somewhere.
I think that would be amazing, but I'm just thinking of the marketing team that's trying to bring money to the museum and they're thinking, wow, this would be such a great way to, incentivize people to maybe donate here rather than somewhere else. And,
I appreciate your point, Jen. I just see things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can think of 1,000 things I'd rather do with $1,000.
Do you have one of these plates?
I don't know.
Are you going to get one?
No, I'm not going to get one.
Why?
But I think it's, I don't know. It's just not something.
Well, will you be donating to these Springfield museums?
Maybe at some point. I don't know. I'm just looking at it from a marketing perspective and raising money. And
Well,
I just thought it was creative.
It is creative, but the live auction goes through March 10th, so you have 6 more days to decide what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to get a plate at this time, but
Right,
I will probably visit the museum soon. I haven't been there in a while.
We get 25,000 stickers. We sell them for $5 a piece that says, I saved myself from being a douche by not contributing into the Registry of Motor Vehicles scam plate system. And then you make a lot more money that way for the Springfield museums. You see, there's always ways to draw attention and raise money in different ways.
Yeah.
But you know what? We appreciate your call, Jen. It's great to have you.
She's such a nice woman.
Yes,
I don't want to. I'm trying not to be a dick towards her. But thank you for the call.
Oh, it's nice to talk to you guys. I enjoy your show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to talk to you.
You enjoyed the show up until this moment right now.
This is the last day I'm listening.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, guys.
You bet.
Great day.
It's 8:57 with Bax and Nagle on Rock 102.
Live in